All righty, we're back again. How are my Kafir and Goy doing out there? if you if you're somehow still tuning in, I uh, I made an oopsie. Christian apologist, a poor guy. He sent me a private message letting me know he had something come up. He had to leave briefly, and I missed the briefly part and ended our stream early. So,
We all do it, dude.
well, I guess so. But that's definitely a Nicodemus thing to do anyway. Uh, that's how that's how I roll. Um, oh boy. So yeah, we're back,
We
and
are.
mhm, and my Rumble is not working. Of course, I'm so tired of Rumble. But anyway, I'm tired of Rumble and StreamYard, but it may be blessed as long as you know all's well that ends well. That's what matters. Um,
Yeah.
oh, let's see. Oops, no, I don't want to show that. Okay. So yeah, so basically we closed things off with we were talking about how it's a shame that the youth, those that have were born in the 21st century or around the turn of the century,
Yeah.
they really haven't been exposed to something other than the reality, or should we call it virtual reality, that we live today.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, COVID damaged quite a lot of people as well. Like, not just, in a physical sense, but in a mental sense.
Mm.
And there's a lot of catching up to do. There's a generation that's literally being destroyed by all this. And it doesn't seem to me like anyone's actually taken. I mean, I'm sure people are aware. I mean, even our government in the UK admit that, they've basically destroyed a generation by hiding them away and making them do things they didn't want to do and keeping them from school, from education. And because of that, that's going to have a massive effect on society.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's another thing. The whole sociology aspect of, interpersonal relationships, like we mentioned before. Um, the whole quinoria thing. I mean, it's literally attacking that entire one of. Well, actually, attack both. Jesus says the two greatest commandments. All the law lie on these two, and that's love your neighbor like you love yourself. All right, that's
Yeah.
kind of the whole thing, and love God with all your being. And they during the lockdown, they definitely attacked that, and certainly do so um, in the in
Today.
mass media. Yeah, mass media. Yeah, and today, basically, yeah. I mean, today, mass media, it's hard to separate the two. What's being shown on media, what manifests in our activities, and at least it seems that way. Or am I
Definitely.
overstating that? What do you think? Like, is
No.
that no? No.
And it's not just the mass media. It's the government,
Mm,
schools, universities, healthcare, employment, every single department that you can imagine. That's not just in the USA, but in the UK, Australia, anywhere in Europe, you'll find there's everything. It's just been destroyed, dismantled, and certain people are under attack, and certain people are made to feel like they're victims. And this mindset that people have now is one of just basically just war and victimhood. So they, one minute they think they're at war with everyone, but at the same time they're trying to play the victim. And
mm,
this is all been, because of how mass media portrays things and what certain topics they cover, what certain things they don't, how they portray Christianity, how they portray Jesus. And it's the same with the film industry, same with the music industry. Everything is out just literally to mock Christianity, mock Christian families, and even just mock Christian nations as a whole, even though the majority of this stuff is coming from Christian well, so-called Christian nations.
Right.
The
Well,
UK, the US it's all based, even in your what I can't remember what you call it, but you're supposed to be a nation under God,
the
right? And that when they
Constitution.
were talking about that, the Constitution, they weren't talking about any God like Allah or anything like that. They were talking about the Christian God.
Yeah, Yahweh.
And it's the
Yeah.
same as the UK. Yeah, the same as the UK. The UK was built on Christian values. Everything was built in the West. Even you got the United Nations. Some of the rules and laws and stuff like that is based because of what Christianity represents. Love thy neighbor. You know, if we had, just imagine global Sharia.
Mm.
Just imagine how horrible that. No one would have anywhere to flee to, like the Christian nations, where these people are coming to, but then want to change everything. It doesn't make sense. And we have to ask these people, why have you come from a place that has Sharia? Then you're here also, asking for it too. And not only that, if you're not asking for Sharia, it's going to come about anyway because you believe that Islam will be global anyway. So that's what you believe in. Don't they ever address that? Don't they ever think of that?
Well, of course. I mean that. When I was, and this is actually a picture that I took myself when I was in what I call the front lines of this historical Muslim migration to the West. Literally, not only hundreds but thousands per day were passing through Greece alone. Yeah, I mean, bus after bus after bus, 24/7. They were, coming
It's
into the
disgusting. And
islands.
if you look properly, the most of them you can see are men.
Yeah, young men, young military-age men. And that,
That's it.
at least in America, that was not allowed. But in Greece, I mean, I can't believe that Greece actually, sold out is the best I could say. Sold out and allowed this to happen. I mean, at this point, they were still passing through the border. So an argument can be made they were just allowing them to pass through. But even when, sorry, yeah,
Sorry.
no, even when the Slavs closed the borders, Greeks, again, throughout this time, we got to keep in perspective. This is their historical and current enemy, the Muslims. So,
Yeah.
but despite that, Greeks actually not only allowed them to come through, they supported them, they raised funds for them, clothing, food, shelter, entertainment, medical, education, on and on. All while Greece was having its historical economic crisis. So despite the economic crisis, despite this being an enemy, they took them in as shelter, just like Jesus Christ said. And what do the Muslims do? They don't say thank you, not that we were asking for thank you. But
No.
they trampled onto these things and they complained and then they took over and then they would do things like push me around, even push old men around, take over the city, and just destroy things. In fact, let me just share it now that I'm on this rant. I'm sorry, but I'm getting triggered here. But let me share this picture here. This is a path that I used to take when I was staying at a monastery in the second biggest city in Greece. I was staying at the monastery, going to classes, walking through the city. I walk like literally several kilometers per day one way to go to class,
Wow.
up and down the hill. So I got in great shape. I'm thankful for it. Yeah, but so while this was going on, and early on I got involved with this Muslim migration, and then about a year later they were trapped in Greece and were spread throughout Greece, and even the Greek government said they're going to build a 4-minaret mosque in Athens, the capital city of Greece, which is an absolute sign of victory for the jihadis.
Yeah.
So despite all these things, I remember walking down the street, this little path over here, and around this area, I saw torn panties. Like it was like I don't know, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like the sun was coming up, and it was dawn, and so I could see, and there was nobody quite out yet, and so obviously in the middle of the night, something happened right in the middle of the street. Obviously, why else would torn panties be out in the middle of the street? And it's quite disturbing. Like, and I think about the grooming gangs that you brought up.
Yeah.
The historical and current event facts with Islam, and the attitude of mass media Moonies and how they feel about all this sexual deviancy, and how they feel about Christianity and how they are programmed to show solidarity with Islam, as we said, with Buddhism, with Hinduism, with every kind of ism and paganism under the sun, and while hating Christianity. And even though up until recently it was don't say anything anti-Semitic, now it's all about hating the Jews as well.
Mm.
And
Massively.
and that brings us to this whole affront, this whole attack on Christianity, as you said. Like, it's all about that. It's all about whether or not you're with Christ. I mean, God says specifically, you cannot serve two masters, and we're witnessing that, especially with other
Yeah.
Christians who are, as we're saying earlier, identify as Christians, as I say they're Christians, yet they behave in every other way, and then they argue these other things. We call them leftist things, but that's fair. The things that are not right,
Yeah.
including baby killing. How is that possibly Christian?
Exactly. And sometimes you hear they'll always have this fake history or this fake verse that doesn't exist that they'll throw up to say, well, hang on a minute, no, Christianity does tolerate this, or what was the latest one? When I was talking to debating a Muslim about the age of Aisha, and they turned around and said that I couldn't have a go at them anyway because in the Bible it says that Mary was 11 years old.
Where?
And I said, no, it doesn't say that at all. I said, in fact, in Jewish custom, a wife was around 14 years of age. I said, let's not forget that you also worship, well, not worship, but you also have, honor Mary in your Quran. And they were like, I said, and to your Quran standards, Muhammad would have married Mary when she was 6 and mounted her when she was 9. So let's not even get into that discussion, shall we? But the problem we've got here, Nico, I don't know if it's the same in the USA, but we've had a massive problem recently where the Muslims have come and because they know that they're going to be sent to Rwanda, another place, and they're not going to stay here, which again costs the taxpayer money. So they're going to go to Rwanda. They've been coming out with these other techniques of how to stay in the UK by coming here, and the most recent one has been converting, and I say in commas, converting to Christianity. And then it's funny, and there was a survey done of how many of these Muslims, so-called Muslims, that converted to Christianity stayed at the church after they got given their citizenship. And we're talking hundreds of thousands, mind, not just a few. And I think it's shown that 98% of the Muslims vanished. No one knows where they are. No one knows what happened to them, if they're still Christian or anything. They're not in touch with any vicar or anything like that. So they've actually gone and got themselves baptized. They've received the flesh and blood of Jesus Christ in a church or in a cathedral somewhere. And then they've vanished. And this goes hand in hand with what their Quran tells them. You can love them to their face, but hate them in your heart. Right. And that you can lie to them. And that, when I say them, that means the non-believers, the infidels, the Jews and Christians, people of the book. Sus.
Yeah, let me go back to the Muslim argument about how Old Testament or even the Virgin Mary, her age, but even they'll bring up Rebecca or whatever. So yeah, but look at, I mean, even Mary, and she wasn't 11. They have no documented proof of that. They just, as they do, just lie so they can justify.
They just throw it out.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's that thing, the fox without his tail. I mean, basically, if they feel like if they can destroy the truth, and that therefore their own vileness is okay, is not justified. And that's not how it works. So, but not only that, it's lies, obviously, Takia. So, yeah, even okay, so putting out the 11, obviously it's a lie. Even if we go with 14, I would imagine to some that would be grotesque. In today's day and age, I would agree with that. If it
Yeah.
were today's day and age, marrying a 14-year-old would be quite sick, because a
Yeah.
14-year-old these days is still a little kid, in effect. In fact, the, 20 something is the new teens and 30 something is the new 20s. People's development has been stifled because of our just, well, how spoiled we are. I'm sorry to put it that way. I don't know how else to put it. Compared to society, especially in those times. And
Yeah.
so when someone was 14 years old, they were already now entering literally into adulthood, not just physically, that argument that Muslims like to make, but an actual lifestyle. But let's not overlook the average life expectancy during that time. As what I'm showing here, I'm sharing, the age of life expectancy of the time of Christ was 35. So basically, you marry at about, let's argue 15. I'm not saying that's what happened. I don't know. But let's argue that was the average age of 15, or people, some married at 15 or 14 or whatever. 20 years later, you're dead.
Yeah.
20 years, yeah. 15 years later, you're a grandma. 20 years later, you're dead. Okay. So to put that in perspective, even if that's true, we can't compare the people and life expectancies and so on of today to the time of Christ. Again, the average age, life expectancy of the time of Christ was 35.
Mm.
Now,
And let's not forget, there is a massive difference between 14 and 9. Yes, I know it may in number only be 5 years, but we're talking about
no.
puberty.
Yeah, we're talking about
Right.
absolute someone who's sprouting twice over and so on and so forth. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
major difference. Major difference.
It's you can pull a picture up of a 14-year-old compared to a 9-year-old, and you would think there was at least 15, 20 years difference.
Right.
It's unreal, and it is. I know it is grotesque in today's society for a 14-year-old to be married, but we also had this view in the West about, let's say, 4 decades ago max. In fact, in Scotland now, right now in Scotland, you can go get married at the age of 16. So that's just 2 years difference. But like I said, we're talking puberty, height, the way the body is shaped, maturity, mental maturity. There's a difference between a child and an adolescent.
Absolutely. And they don't even have that in their discussion. Even the psychotic, let's call them apologists for Islam, who sit there and
Yeah.
argue about Aisha's age and so on and so forth. That's not even part of the discussion. They're just fixated on whether or not she's hit puberty, which is insane.
Well, some do. I've noticed recently, like Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab, they just go with it, and they say, "So what? We don't care." And then people have asked them, "Would you let your daughter marry at the age of?" And they've said, "Yeah, they would." And instead of people condemning it on the news, which you'd think, if this was Christianity, it would be on the news, 100%. It will be on every news channel you could see. Christian Apologist says that he would marry his 6-year-old daughter to a man. As that would be straight up. But with Islam, you're not allowed to talk about it. Do you know I had a problem the other day, Nicodemus? I had a problem the other day. I had an email telling me that basically I had someone that was going to find out where I lived and was going to do all sorts to me. I've had loads of these come through. I don't make anything of it. I don't even reply to them. And I had some stuff for sale on Facebook Marketplace, and someone messaged me, and I didn't click at first. Like, as in, I didn't notice. But his name was Ahmed, and before I had realised that his name was or before I knew his name was Ahmed or Ahmed, I'd already given him my address to come pick up this item, and I noticed, and then just as the dots were writing, as when I knew that he was replying, I knew that something was coming my way, as in regards of a threat, and I was 100% right. When he actually was writing back and it come through, he basically, I know where you live now. I'm going to be making sure everyone knows, and blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just replied, "Bring it on."
Right. Well, can I ask you, did you report him?
Of course I did.
Okay. And what did the authorities do?
Nothing.
Nothing. Are you kidding me?
Nothing. No. They never do. This is the problem. If they did, I put in a complaint. I got an incident number. Now apparently someone's going to be in contact with me in the near future. But I've had this before, and I don't usually I don't really tell my partner about these things because I don't want to scare her or anything. But in total, I counted the other day, I must have had at least, I think it was 63 death threats. I've had about 10 against my family, but well, things to do with my mum and my dad, even though they don't know if they're still alive or anything. And I've had hundreds of threats of violence and other things. I would slap you up and stuff like that. So, but each time I've reported it, or I've reported it on Facebook, or reported it to the police, nothing ever happens.
Yet, if we get attacked by one of these scumbags and we split their head open, all of a sudden we're the perpetrators.
Especially and it wouldn't even be a manslaughter. It'll be, you'd get done for murder.
Right. So that's what we're talking about today. I mean, basically, we're going to hell in a handbasket, and it's not our fault. But we do have to speak up. I mean, we can't sit there and buckle to pressure. That is, again, as we were saying earlier, an instrument of Satan. That's why they do their terror. That's why when they do their terrorism, they share their videos to spread that terror, just like the mafia, and all, which is also, by the way, has Masonic roots. And so once we allow them to use that as a tool against us, we're empowering them and we're further encouraging them. Instead, when they get in your face, you just take theirs off. God forgive me, but you have to not allow the bully to get away with bullying you. Otherwise, it's just going to get worse. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm being this. It really upsets me that not only you're being threatened, but now they're threatening your family, your mother, your extended family. Let's say
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, my mum gets mentioned in most of the threats that are towards me as well. There's a massive common thing. I don't know why, but they do like talking about people's mums quite a lot, which is quite disgusting in all fairness.
So let's go back.
I think it's deliberately just to get you wild up so you react. And I don't. Do you know what? I always reply most of the time, unless it was like earlier. Most of the time, I always reply, "I will pray for you."
Okay, God bless you.
And that makes them worse.
Okay, as well, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
That to me shows that it's worked.
Okay, how's that? Explain this. I need to understand this one.
Sorry, too short.
How? Yeah, I mean, because let me tell you, and this has happened to me repeatedly. Basically, they'll sit there and they'll push me around, and then because I actually am a pushover to some degree. I'm a big teddy bear. I'm a pacifist, believe it or not. I know I don't sound like it, but I am. Yeah. But when someone threatens me or my family, all of a sudden, I lose control. Literally, I literally lose control. And so they've seen that, and they've seen it in my eyes. And the one thing that's saved them from me and saved me from myself is the Jesus prayer. What we were saying before at the end of our last stream. Literally, I have to resort to focusing on Christ to save their lives. And they don't even realize it. They don't even realize how much they need to go kiss the feet of Jesus Christ, of any icon, that they're still alive. They have no idea. And that's true for many Greeks and for many people across the world. They have no idea how thankful they need to be to Jesus Christ that they're still alive. Never mind supported, helped the way they are, but they have not been reacted to the way they are begging for.
Yeah. So the way I was saying, so basically in the gospel, Jesus says, pray for your enemies and love those who persecute you. So he said by doing that, it's like pouring hot coals on their head if you were to love and not to hate.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I do when they're nasty to me on, say, the socials or just on YouTube or whatever, I always say, I'll pray for you. And when they kick off about it and they're like, what? Because it makes them worse. That, like Jesus said, it's like pouring hot coals on their head, on Satan's head. That's what he said himself. And basically, they're like, don't you dare, don't do this, don't do that. Like, you're absolutely off. It makes them worse. And if it makes them worse, I know that I've hit Satan where it hurts the most.
So
Because I'm doing something what Jesus instructed me to do on how to deal with Satan.
I see what you're saying now. Okay. I mean, and let me add to that. When I was younger and closer to God, and it's embarrassing for me to say that right now because that signifies that don't have the relationship with God that I should have. But back when I was closer with God, had the better relationship when I kept that kindled much better than I do now. I was able to do that. I was able to basically take an affront and peacefully. And people were awed by my ability to do that. And it wasn't really me. Again, it was, let's say, that relationship with God. It was divine intervention by extension. And so when I was doing that, the point is this. I also witnessed other people rise up in my defense. When they saw me being abused and they saw me taking it peacefully as I was, they felt compelled to intervene. And that was
the Holy Spirit will build an army for you. You don't have to do anything.
Literally. And that's exactly what happened. So that too is true. But, I don't have that relationship with God now. And so when I get threatened in that way, unfortunately, like, for example, we talked about, what's his name? That big fat one that everyone wants to hates. The Taoist. Not you, man. The Taoist. What's his name? The one that's putting up
Hijab.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah. Hijab.
Muppet. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Man, I would so love to have a piece of that guy. But, even if we talked about this, even if I accepted his public challenge, I mean, I would go in that ring and I would take him out. And I know that. And I know that he would try to do the same to me. That's why I would take him out. I would not play around. So, but what's the benefit of that? As we said, I would do that. Mass media will put a spin on it. Sure, I might take one out, but then, they eventually get to me. So, and then what was the benefit of that?
Yeah. Guys, by the way, for the audience, basically Mohammed Hijab put this public. Well, he's done it 3 times in total now. 3 times. He's put a public challenge up for any Christian heavyweight or any heavyweight. He says any man, any fight. He's never denied any fight. He said that any Christian who wants to have a fight and represent Christianity in the ring or a cage, he's inviting them to do it. So it's kind of like my God versus your God type thing. So this isn't a ring or in a cage. It's a sports thing. It's not let's meet in the back garden and have a fight, because that would be unchristian. But because it's an actual sport, and I'm a boxer, and I'm a heavyweight boxer, and I'm also a Christian apologist, and I live in the UK. I messaged a guy, and I even sent 2 people that go to Speaker's Corner regularly and see him and know him, to tell him that I accept his challenge and what have you. And they've even shown him a clip of me that I've sent for him. And yeah, he still won't fight anyone. It's not just me. There's loads of people that have offered him. We won't do it. But yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. But yeah, she said, like, the media would put a spin on it if you went in and absolutely, destroyed him. They would make you look like the bad guy, or me look like the bad guy, or any Christian look like the bad guy.
Right. It's a lose-lose. But I also wanted to share the story so people can understand when I was speaking earlier about, what I would do what I have to. I would do what I have to. I'm not at all going back on that. I would have, no problem, at least in the moment, doing what I have to defend myself. I would feel like crap completely afterwards. I would have a hard time living with it afterwards, but I would do what I have to. But here's the thing. I don't put myself in that situation to begin with. So I want to make that clear.
Exactly. That's right. I mean, for me, it's very hard because obviously I'm a born again. So even though the Orthodox don't really accept that, but I am a born again. So well, I wasn't Christian before. I grew up as an atheist. I was an alcoholic aged 12, 13 till I was 28. And I not only was I handy in the ring, but I was more handy in regards to street fights and pub fights and taking on the masses. And I never liked. I'm not saying this to give myself clout, by the way, or make myself look hard, because believe me, I hate the person I used to be.
Amen.
Like
Amen.
more than anybody, more
I
than
can relate to that.
anybody.
Yeah.
And I was evil, like literally. Some of the state I have put some people in, which makes me, even to say, sometimes I cry about it, and it upsets me. And some of these people won't forgive me, and they won't talk to me to this day, and I don't blame them. However, I do try and make peace with them. And but some of the states I have put people in and stuff, it was disgusting. Say, for instance, I was to take this Muhammad Hijab's offer in the ring, and I made a mess of him and what have you. As a Christian, at the end of it, I wouldn't be able to live with it. But if it was the other way around and he managed to destroy me or whatever, and I died or something, he would be martyred. You'll have everyone dancing and partying on the street. And this is the difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is the difference between Islam and Christianity.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I've got an insight. Oh, go on. Sorry.
Now I'm just gonna go back to, as far as what the picture goes, and my involvement with this historical thing. When the borders were closed by the Slavic nations, everyone was trapped in Greece and in Italy.
Wow.
Distributed throughout the countries. Basically, they encroached through politics and money. They took over these countries. That's basically what happened. In Greece, for example, like I said, the Greek government is actually not only being allowed to the building of a mosque, a 4-minaret mosque, is being allowed to be built in the capital of Athens, but the government is actually funding some of it.
That's what I mean. Don't people think this is strange? And not. Oh, this is for the audience now. Now, even if you've stumbled across this video and you're not a believer in any religion, I want you to ask yourself this serious question. For one country to have a problem with illegal immigration, that's one thing. But when it comes to every single democratic country in the Western Hemisphere, and the Earth is big, right? There are lots of countries. At the same time, do you not think that is strange? And that's not, you cannot call that a coincidence. It would be barbaric to call that a coincidence. Every country having a problem with immigration, illegal immigration, let's say.
Specifically Islamic immigration. America has this issue with the Hispanics, those south of the border, Mexicans and much further south than that, coming up through the borders illegally and all that. And that is a problem. That's not a new problem. That's been a problem. But there's a lot to unpackage in that discussion alone. But let me just say, actually, there's a lot. I'm not completely excusing that. Actually, I'm not really excusing that. I'm against illegal immigration, but I think that's been politicized. It's been weaponized, that discussion, even as a form of distraction and, of course, further divisiveness. But when it comes to those societies that are arguably predominantly Christian, now some of them, they incorporate the voodoo practices in their Christianity, especially the further south you go. But outside of that, they're predominantly Christian. They come into a country, they want to work hard, they want to do well. That's different. It's
of course.
Keep it
legal. And that goes with some Muslims as well. You will find that some, they do It's a very small minority. Let's say 20%, right? 25%, I would say max, that have come here or come to a Christian country and come there to work, genuinely work, not use the welfare system, don't want Sharia law, are against Sharia law, and actually fit in and actually want to be American or be a British citizen and appreciate that history and culture. I've got no problem with that. The Sikhs do it, the Hindus do it, the Buddhists do it. So
Right.
why can't the Muslims do it?
Yeah. And I actually teach Americans, but the reality is they're probably of this population we're talking about now. I teach them math. And so, but you'll see, they do the intercom thing where they have to do the Pledge of Allegiance. And so they all stand up and, these little kids are all proud to do their Pledge of Allegiance and all that. They're now the land of the free, now land of opportunity and this and that. And that's the general attitude of immigrants. That is a night and day difference between them and Islam, which is the exact opposite. To call Islam, to call Islam a parasite is an insult to parasites. And this is why. Because parasites were made to be parasitic. Muslims choose to be worse than parasites. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was listening. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, I cut you off. You're going to say something?
Oh, yeah. I said, basically, what I was going to say is they've changed something literally the other day in our law. To be British, there's quite a few attributes we have, like we queue. There's a few traits that British have that not many Europeans or Americans have. Like we've got, our own little quirks and personalities about things. But written into citizenship, and it has been from day one, if you want to become a British citizen, then usually at the end of when you've been given your citizenship, you shake hands with whoever's signed you off. And it's been a tradition. And it's been written down since whenever citizenship and my immigration began, that you are to shake hands with the person giving it to you. And recently, we've had a complaint that certain people don't want to shake hands with women. So they changed it so that if Muslims wanted to shake hands with a man instead, that they would get a man to shake their hand. Now they're saying they don't want to shake hands with anyone. They literally want the citizenship. They don't want to shake their hand. They just want to go. They don't even want to thank us for letting them in now.
Yeah, moving the goalpost.
Exactly. Now, a handshake to a British person is a way of acknowledgement. It's a way of starting something new. It's a way of expressing congratulations or welcome. But without it, say if he refused my handshake, that's a rude, way of, socializing, if that makes sense. So for them to basically do that and have it now changed by law, and this is the weirdest thing, it's only the Muslims that are allowed to do it. So if a Sikh refuses to shake someone's hand, or a Hindu does, that's from a different country, they won't get their citizenship. This is crazy, and you're telling me that this isn't all planned, that the government don't know about it, that they can't control it. Because believe me, if I was a leader, the first thing you do is get your police and your armies out, and you protect your borders that way. You don't just let millions of people come in. I mean, with the UK, of course, most of the audience that we'll have are probably American. So here in the UK, I just want to say, our country is tiny. We're a small little island. There's 66 million people in total. Now we're getting 1 million illegal immigrants coming by boats alone a year.
Wow.
A year. We've had 5 million just by boats in the past 5 years. And that's the ones we know about. So just let that sink in. When we can't keep up with our own people at the moment.
And you're
It's
not armed
disgusting. We
for the most part. You
no,
can't
we
defend
can't
yourself
get a
properly.
doctor's appointment here. That's how
Right.
bad it is. We've got a national healthcare system that the taxpayer pays into that we can't access.
Well,
Ah,
it's very sad. Yeah, and that's. I mean, yeah, it's basically what we were talking about earlier in the stream. The other stream, let's call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically it's attack on it's the ethnic cleansing of the white Christian man, but
of course.
basically, yeah, it's an attack on Christianity, on Jesus Christ Himself through His followers.
Yeah.
That's why.
On his church.
Yeah, that's why the term Europeans, Euro trash and all that. This whole Euro bashing thing has set into culture, big time. Even if not especially in our own circles here, in the apologist circles, which I get on them every time they do that.
I've been called the colonizer just for being white. This is I haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
I don't own any slaves. I'm not. Do I look like my name's Muhammad? Of course not.
Hmm. And a lot of us seen this coming years ago. All these different things. I mean, you listen to the media, the mass media messaging, and you know where they're taking us. So I created a comic book in 2017. I've talked about this before. Basically, it was forewarning about things like January. What was it? January 6th, the quote unquote insurrection. This whole Native American thing they've been doing. This was before I created this before the Washington Redskins logo scandal, and now the we are now in the land of so and so, poppycock and all this stuff. Yeah, even before BLM, I put this out there. Civil race war is a subplot of my series. Basically, it's exposing the idolization of paganism, but also focusing on racism and these political things. My comic actually ended with the aliens being released by the government. They're secret aliens, and they're weaponizing the aliens. So, then that's recently what they were saying. Oh, the alien thing is real. It's a secret. It's a government secret. It's a real thing. So, you just listen to the messaging. You know exactly. You can see it. The stuff coming a mile away. The feces that they're flinging. You can see it coming.
And I want people to know, like, I want you, even if you're not a Christian or anything, if you enjoy life as it is, let's say mainly for the atheists, right? Here in the Western world, just imagine, right, if Islam does take over and Sharia law was implemented, okay? Let's just talk what ifs. Let's have a thought process. You can kiss goodbye to your pet dog because you're not allowed dogs. You can kiss goodbye to clubbing or discos. You can kiss goodbye to the bar. You can kiss goodbye to alcohol. You can kiss goodbye to most sports. You can kiss goodbye to porn. Anything like that you indulge in, that you enjoy as an atheist, is completely gone. And some of the things that we enjoy as Christians, like I said, dogs, some like a tipple now and then of alcohol, some...
Bacon.
Yeah,
I know that's a
bacon.
big thing in media. Bacon, pushing bacon or something. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
The women that are listening, you won't be able to wear what you want. You'll be wearing burqas, and if you refuse, you're getting 80 lashes. And then the next time you refuse, you're gonna be beheaded or stoned.
If not raped first or raped afterward.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll be unalived.
You can say murder and suicide and all that stuff here, man. YouTube and the fascists can kiss my, what?
Yeah. I mean, what is... I want to ask you, like, on a personal level now, because I've got my bug. What's the main thing that's bugging you, or really, really, from the Islamic point of view, that's really upsetting you right now?
About Islam? Just this
Well,
how...
or actually, no, about anything about the world currently. What's the biggest upset that's making you a bit on the edge of your seat, or what's really rifling you right now?
Yeah, the degree of brainwashing through media. I mean, that's why I've dedicated my life to it. Literally, my livelihood.
Yeah.
I invest on a daily basis. People, no exaggeration. I invest my livelihood. I'm living day to day, but I'm here spending hours per day. And forgive me for ringing my bells, just so you understand how much this means to me and how real I'm doing for a reason. It's not because, it's not
Yeah.
because I want to be viral or rich or famous, but because I know it's a problem and I know not many people are speaking about it, at least the way I am. Usually when other people complain about movies and all that, they come off from the fanboy perspective and they'll talk about the finances of it and how the finances is the driving force and people that are doing the evil things, well, they don't know better. They're just stupid and all these different excuses. I don't do that. I not only do I not do that, I keep it spiritual, I keep it real, I present facts, and I'll even give you samples so you can see for yourself and judge for yourself. All right,
Yeah.
so that's what really gets me. So what bothers me is that you see this little kid here, this little Muslim kid in this picture. You
Yeah.
see him on the shoulders crying. These kids are the biggest victims, especially coming from their
Of
culture.
course.
But around the world, it doesn't matter. Chinese, Japanese, yellow knees, as we used to say, little kids. It doesn't matter what you are. You're being a victim. I teach Chinese kids, and I was talking to you about this before, man. Like, and I've talked about it more openly, publicly. I could share. I mean, if I only have some videos, if you guys can see the behaviors of these little kids, and we're talking about, I mean, little kids. We're talking about 8 years old, give or take.
Yeah.
The kind of advances that even me as a man I have to put up with. I'm not talking about little boys, I'm talking about little girls, but I even had little boys that really strange around. Why? I mean, where are they learning these behaviors from?
Exactly. And some of the things they get taught as well, as even UNRWA, what they were doing in Palestine, absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. What they get brought up and told in their household by their parents to do, and what would bring them joy the most. And honestly, it's heartbreaking because these children grow up to be doctors, astrophysicists, astronauts, whatever they want to be, footballers, whatever. You be who you want to be, but they're being told and directed to believe this. Go and do this. This will bring me honor. This will do this. If you become this, we'll excommunicate you and I'll never speak to you again. That makes me sick.
Yeah, or tortured, or imprisoned or executed. So for them to say no, it's like it's very difficult. And God bless the Christians who still stay there today in these oversaturated Islamic nations. This was a Judeo-Christian land for centuries,
Yeah.
but Islam took it over, and it took it over by the sword. And they still have slaves, and they still do all these evil things. And media and international organizations have done nothing about it. I don't want to hear about how they pass laws and they give it the old college try. That's hogwash. That's theater. They've instead supported them. All these immigrants, so many of them have cards or credit lines from the United Nations itself. I ran into a UN guy the other day shopping, with his clipboard trying to get support for these vermin. I about popped him one. I had to walk off, start doing the Jesus prayer. Like, dude, get out of my face, because they're the biggest traitors. Worse than the Muslims are the people, your neighbor, that are supporting this violence. They're showing solidarity with paganism and hating on Christianity.
The biggest thing that's bothering me, like my pest and bug, is mainly our leaders being blind to. If we just lay people can just pick up on things, and it's not just us. There's millions of people that can see all this and see through it. Why do our leaders think that we can't? And why are they ignoring it all? Why aren't they speaking up? Why aren't they doing anything? And not only that, is that you got the other half as well, the left, the liberals, that stand by these people, even though they know deep down that Islam's against them too. In fact, if anything, like LGBTQ community. You see the queers for Palestine. They'll throw you off the roof the second you're there.
At least
You're
again,
safer here.
I talked about this with Sheikh Mutaz and Francis Bull. By the way, folks, I should have mentioned this earlier. Today's Saturday. Probably got his news already. He had a procedure today. Let's pray for him, for that guy, Francis Bull. Make sure that you know, that the news he got,
Yeah.
serves the Lord, and that whatever it may be, that it's for his benefit, and that he's able to handle it as best, as gracefully as he can. Sorry. I forgot, lost my train of thought here. What were we talking about? Sorry.
Yeah, so like how these people stand by him, and the biggest one at the moment is Israel, and it's affected me so bad because they're getting it left, right, and center. They're being attacked by Iran, and at the same time they've got Russia threatening them. No one's standing by them whatsoever. The Americans are saying, "Yeah, we're your friends, and we're your ally." But at the same time, they're turning around, and the same as the UK, they're turning around saying to them, "Listen, you're on your own. Don't escalate things. Hurry up with the war. Hurry up with this. Hurry up with that." And it's
Right.
why?
Well,
Because if it happened here, we'd be worse.
in UK.
Yeah. If what happened on October the 7th happened here in the UK, we would have took out Gaza by now. It would have been run over.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Never mind, not even, well, I would like to think not even allow it to happen to begin with, but I guess that's arguable, isn't it?
I have one solution for all this.
I'm listening.
Mecca.
Send them all to Mecca, pack them up, pack them in there. That's what I was saying.
Pack them up in there.
Yeah.
And then get a few helicopters and spray the whole entire area with pig's blood.
No, that's with pig's blood. Okay, I thought you'd go somewhere else with that. Okay. Okay. But yeah, I was just saying, like Escape from New York, just imprison them in their this most sacred holy rock, that they worship like pagans. And just not let them get out, and that's it. And then, of course, they're going to kill themselves because they're Muslim. Well, bottom line.
And they do.
Yeah,
the last one on earth would fight with himself.
Yeah, I was going to mention the Breitbart artwork with the one Muslim, with this holding a sword with his toes, fighting with himself because he's the last Muslim.
That's it. It comes to both our minds. We're like-minded. That's what I mean. We can see it. Oh dear, it's comical, but at the same time, it is actually absolutely horrifying because everything what happened in Iran, the Iranians, the real Iranians, they're telling us like what's gonna happen to us. They're basically saying, this happened to us. Like, you're in trouble. Are you not going to sort this out now? Because you're in big trouble, guys. You're literally being bombarded at the moment. They're coming through your borders. You got the left hand in hand with them. They're doing here what they did around. They know what's going to happen. They know what's going to happen to us, and they're telling us, and no one's listening.
Yeah.
There's this one Iranian that turns up at the protests every Saturday with a piece of paper that says Hamas are terrorists, which the UK government have actually printed themselves. He gets arrested each time he holds up the sign. He's been arrested 6 times now.
It's diabolical backwards. Diabolical.
So the UK government can turn around and say Hamas are a prescribed terrorist organization, right? But this Iranian guy, he can't hold up a sign saying it. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, and there's the Breitbart artwork that you referenced earlier.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny, but it's funny in a nervous way. It's like it's comedy kind of triggers your anxiety, your nerves. Like, it makes you nervous, it makes you uncomfortable, and therefore triggers laughter. And that's what's happening here with this picture. I mean, we laugh at it because it's comical, but it's a comical and nervous way because we know deep down it's real. It's the reality of it. They're just insatiably evil, and that's just not That's not bigotry or prejudice. I'm making a statement on inductive reasoning, on what we observe over and over again, the evidence. And look,
Yeah.
I understand. Like, I've had Muslim friends. Interestingly enough, I don't have any Muslim friends anymore. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe because maybe because I'm not a friend. Wasn't a friend of them to begin with, and I'll prove that here now.
Yeah.
All of those Muslim friends and some acquaintances, all of them pretended that we all have the same Abrahamic religion, quote unquote, right? There's a
Yeah.
religious
Same
base.
God, and yeah.
Yeah, they're victims. They're misunderstood. All this crap. And when I asked him this challenge, actually, next Muslim, when I was younger, he showed me a translated Quran. He showed me this quote in English from the Quran: "Destroy the infidels." He said, "Nick, when you see a Muslim, don't buy into the BS. Ask him about this quote right here." And so I did. Every one of them, I would ask them, and all of them tried to deny it. All of them tried to escape. All of them tried to
Yeah.
change the subject that they usually
It
do.
means destroy them with their words or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with
I've heard it all.
toothbrushes, right, yeah, with propaganda, with dawah, destroy them, right? So, but anyways, like, yeah, every one of them, I pressed them, and every one of them gave me the duper smile, and then just kind of walked out. All of them knew. All of them were deceiving me. All of them knew that that's what Islam is really about, and were lying to me. And then
Yeah.
no more friends. How about that?
Coincidence? No, it must be a coincidence that's happened to me too. And probably about 10, 15 people who I know as well.
Wow, mine was about a
Hmm.
half a dozen, but that's plenty enough, as my father used to say. Oh, Lord have mercy. I mean, it's a shame that we have to sound this way, but this is a reaction to an absolute evil. Now, that being said, I know this is going to bother some people, but
And don't
there's
forget, but me and you, we're exposed to it a lot more because we have to study this stuff so to bring this content. So we're gonna be a bit more pent up about it, let's say.
yeah. Well, my focus is more mass media, but again, a large part of the mass media, especially these days, is the dawah taqiyya that they're paid to do, literally. And again, I have a
Yeah.
documentary out. You'll see I have a audio clip of um, who was it? I can't remember their name now, but basically undercover thing with NPR. These guys approached them, pretending to be a fundraiser for terrorism for Islam. Approached NPR, and NPR agreed to take money and to have their content influenced by Muslim terrorists. you know,
Wow.
yeah, and this was over a decade ago that took place on this undercover thing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, man. I mean, but that sums up. I mean, again, in Greece. I mean, I was told by someone who was a liberal herself, a professor, very high up in different positions, that they in fact take money. We're taking money to wear the I can't even think anymore. My brain is shutting down. But the head coverings or whatever those are called. They're basically women liberals were paid to do that. Um,
Wow.
In Greece, they also Greece, you guys should know, is a very Christian nation. The cross on their flag is part of the culture. To this day, you greet someone and you ask them how they're doing. The response will be, "Glory be to God," regardless of all the crazy things they've been going through. So it's
Hmm.
deeply Christian. And I know someone saying they're going to hell, they're idol worshippers, that whatever. Anyway, putting all the shenanigans to the side. But despite that, again, they've allowed the fox in the hen house with these Muslims, but the government is also, again, like I said, the mosque in Athens. They actually took down Christian icons in their schools of theology because they were quote
Wow.
unquote offensive. They actually, in the second biggest city, right in their port, this major tourist destination everyone goes to. If you see, it's close to the White Tower. If you look at White Tower on the internet, major historical site. They put up a crescent thing, a massive crescent thing coming out of the water. They call it artwork. Why a crescent moon while this historical mass migration is going on? To welcome
Yep.
these Muslims, to give them their symbol, their sign of victory. the mosque in Athens, and their crescent right in the a major port in the second biggest city in Greece.
It's
I mean,
incredible.
yeah, it's just insane. To reinforce what you were saying earlier, it's the problems from the top down, and they all have the same agenda. It's anti-Christian, it's pro Baphomet, it's you know idolization of sexual deviancy, of bestiality, necrophilia, pedophilia, um, you know, polygamy,
Yeah.
premarital relations, and that's just the sexual part of it. The oppression,
Racism.
slavery, racism. Thank you. Misogyny, the subjugation of men, making them into terrorists, and I mean,
Child abuse.
yeah, it's just the list goes on. Like
It
suicide.
does. Every evil thing you can imagine is just
Yeah,
in their
literally.
time.
Literally, and that's the Church of Satan out of California. Their agenda is the uncreation, to do the exact opposite of what is good, to break all the commandments and to do the opposite of what Christ teaches. Well, here you go. Here's
Wow.
Islam. That is the manifestation of exactly that.
There you go. Islam's 10 times worse, probably.
Yeah, it is actually, unfortunately. And those Satanists do some vile stuff. They've been caught doing some vile stuff. Yet Muslims, exponentially worse. Whew,
There was
man.
47,000 terrorist attacks since 2011. Since 9/11. 47,000 terrorist attacks. Tell me this is a religion of peace.
Yeah, I don't
It's
understand
incredible.
them. Yeah. And so to go back, I mean, it kind of detoured. You asked me what bothers me the most. I mean, what kills me again is the children, man. Like, all the children around the world. I don't mean to sound like some kind of, we are the world kind of, rhetoric here. I mean, genuinely, these children are completely lost. They have no fucking guidance. They have no fucking parents. Excuse my language. It pisses me off to no end. It makes me want to when you read the Bible of people ripping their clothes off. That's how I feel right now. I want to rip my clothes off and just scream. It makes me so fucking pissed off. No
Yeah.
guidance. Homes have been destroyed. Mother and father against each other. Completely divided homes. We made the children the property, the ward of the state. Why? We allow them to do all this crazy activity. We allow them to have access and be subjected to all this crazy, vile ideas. How dare we?
Exactly. If we don't do it, just for anything else, it should be for the children.
Yeah, okay.
Especially if we know in our own land, like in the UK and the USA, how they're being treated in their own homes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Islam is the epitome of this evil. It really is. It's not nastiness. It's not prejudice. It's not even an overstatement, unfortunately. And again, let me just again, I've got to put this ointment in the fly ointment. I just got to keep it real.
Yeah.
There's still opportunity for them to be saved, and we know this because we see the Christian apologists in these circles. Some of them, dedicate their lives to doing that. Some of them are so great about that. Steve Mashney is one of them. I'm going to throw out his name. He's not popular with everyone. He's even had his moments with me, him and his wife. I mean, some of the Christian bashing going on over there, I'm not a big fan of.
What's his name?
Steve Mashney. It's Hussein Mashney, I think is he's real popular.
Send it over to me an email if you can.
Okay, yeah. You guys got a huge heart. I love him to death. His wife is really nice too. But yeah, if you watch them, how they approach the whole thing. I mean, he's Palestinian, but he was raised in the States. I'm not sure where his wife is from. I think Lebanon or Palestine. I'm not sure. Anyway. Yeah, but yeah, man, he makes it a point, regardless of what they're doing and all that. He makes it a point to be absolutely loving the entire time. And he literally kills them with kindness. And he keeps saying, I love you. I want you to be saved. He keeps reminding them that no matter what they say, no matter what they do. It's wonderful to watch.
Definitely send me an email with his name. I'll check that out before I hit the sack tonight because
Yeah, it's getting late.
Yeah, I'd like to see that because there's something that I want to do. I mean, obviously, I got to start having debates first, but eventually, once I've got a certain amount of subscribers, I will be looking to, bring Muslims on and get them. Once I prove the Quran's wrong, get them to, accept the Lord Jesus Christ,
Mm.
or at least try.
Yeah, another one I love to death is Thaddeus. Lately he's been a bit more. It looks like his patience might be running out a bit, but still, overall, he has great patience with them. God Logic is known for that too. Sorry.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything from Thaddeus for a long time.
Yeah, he's kind of focusing with. He does his Bible studies on. I think it's Saturdays now. Actually, he's having one in about an hour and a half. Come to think of it, just reminding myself of that. Thanks. But yeah, he also does the Saturday shows with Too Many Marys, and they focus on exposing different things about Islam. And yeah, he'll randomly do something else when someone asks him to, but they usually don't show up. So that's why he'll agree to it, he'll announce it, and they won't show. So that's probably why the other reason you didn't really see too much of that. But I mean, he's still when he does those shows with the individuals. I mean, he's still exemplary, man. I mean, once in a while he'll lose it. He'll lose it. He loses patience with some people that are triggering him in the chat. But yeah, even then, I mean, it's just yeah, it's exemplary. People like that are really inspiring. David Amadik's Muslim. I love that guy too. Yeah, he's got his own. I think he's been evicted. Hopefully, he's got that sorted out. This week, he's facing eviction or has been evicted, and we're all under siege here. But he's amazing too. And this is a guy who, speaking of children, as a young child, he was formed to be a terrorist, and as a young man, when he saw that they were also killing Muslims, he was like, okay, wait a minute, and this is something very wrong here. Just like we saw the depiction of the Bebart, Muslims just at the end of the day, they'll just kill themselves because everyone else has run out. There's nobody else to kill but themselves. So, yeah, I mean, so he actually became atheist, and then eventually, through miracles, found his way to God. So that's cool. But yeah, there's a few out there that are righteous warriors and doing it the right way. As you heard earlier on this particular stream, that's why I don't do it, because I know, like Bob was doing one the other day with this kid that was in his face, like completely mocking him. I would have smacked that kid with my left hand, the hand that they wipe their butts with, just to make sure that he gets the absolute insult. Anyway. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much all I want to say about Islam. Just people be mindful of the kids, man. They don't have any guidance for whatever reason. They don't have parents that are active, or can be active. It's not completely their fault. Uh-oh. Did you just bail out on me again? So I don't know if that's there. He is. Okay, he's back. He's having tech issues.
Yeah, I thought you couldn't hear me then. Like I said, yeah, if you could send me that guy's name that you were talking about, then that would be great too.
Yeah, it's in the private chat. I'll send it an email too.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, send it by email because yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, were you on about Bob from Speaker's Corner then?
Oh yeah, and I was just saying, I couldn't do what you guys do, like deal with these people in person, because I know I would lose it. Is my point. So I don't do it. I just avoid it.
It is well, do you know what? No, actually it's easier in person. Because you can vent out face to face. Which is better. When I feel like when you're stuck and you can't get your point across by using your facial expressions and your hands, and you're out, and you can use your energy and they can see you and you can see them.
Yeah.
That it does help a lot.
Well, that's my point, actually. Sorry to interject, but that's my point. Actually, I'm watching the videos and I see how much how invasive they are with their hand gestures. I would take that as a threat, and I would probably snap. I'm not kidding. So, yeah.
See, I've been Speaker's Corner quite a few times now, but the problem is like I don't film anything that I do because I haven't got the equipment. But I have done quite a few things down there. I've done 3 debates already as well in halls that we've got here. So I've done 3 debates against Islam, Tawhid or the Trinity.
That's awesome.
We've done quite cool. Yeah. So, but I want to do a bit more. I just got to learn how to use YouTube a bit better, and definitely start looking how to stream better.
Yeah, as you see, I have my own problems, but anyway, I could definitely help you get started when it comes to streaming. I'd be happy to do that. Whatever I can offer.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I admire those that do have the ability to speak, to debate. That's also something I struggle with. I'd rather go to fisticuffs, unfortunately. So that's
well, look at Sam Shamoon and Christian Prince. I mean, they do it harshly, but sometimes you have to get down to their level to
also
wake them up.
It's different because they are Arab. So again, working in public school system, I've worked with black teachers with black communities that were. I mean, I worked in a school that was literally not traditional, where the worst of the worst were sent, kind of like a prison, a public prison, so to speak, of sorts.
Yeah.
And even of those, I worked the worst of that group. But anyway, I would walk by. We had a couple of black teachers, and I would walk by. I remember there's one woman, man. She would like sit there and yell like, "Sit your ass down before I snatch a knot in it." Like, I'm like, holy crap. And I'm like looking in the classroom. These kids are like got their hands folded up, and so I sitting upright, looking at her, being all attentive.
Yeah.
But if I said that, that'd be a whole other story, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Big scary white man.
Yeah, exactly. There you go, scary.
The white devil. You're the white devil. I'm telling you, Jesus is bad.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's something to it. I'm not saying what the liberals say. Well, only certain people can say certain things. I'm not saying that. What I am saying, though, it is more effective when it comes from your own kind. You're much more willing to listen when that happens.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Definitely. Right. Well, I better call it. I got to hit the sack. I got to be up early tomorrow, and then of course for me and you, not next week, but the week after, it's Pasha week.
Yeah. Would you mind? I don't know if you got the message or not, but since I think it's next Saturday is the raising of Lazarus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At any rate, I'd like to. Because usually it's the raising of Lazarus and it's Palm Sunday, right? So. Yeah. So I'd like to do one on that theme. I'll probably pick a movie to talk about and reflect on that. Maybe a Leap of Faith or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm fasting the whole week, Holy Week.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, I took time off to dedicate to that. I really need that myself.
I'm not even eating. I'm not eating anything for the whole week.
Whoa.
So
an entire week. Be careful, man. I mean, I don't want to be a spreader of doubt, but that's pretty intense.
Yeah, no, I've done it for 4 days before, but I haven't done a week yet. So
wow, me too. 4 days, and ever since then, I decided to not do it anymore.
I was all right. I could have continued, but it was like the 4 days. It was just after it was only supposed to be for 4 days. So so I could do a week easy. Wouldn't be a problem. Okay. But
can we close
can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, so next Saturday, are you cool with that? Can we do? Would you be up for? I don't mean to put you in a spot. Would you be up for a testimony to kind of? Talk about? Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay, so we'll do all that. We'll do the Lazarus, maybe a movie, but definitely your testimony. That'd be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Would you like to close us out with prayer?
I'll let you lead that one if that's all right.
All right, man. I'll try to do one impromptu. Let's start with the Lord's Prayer. If you don't mind, I'm doing it in Greek and you can do it in English. Is that cool?
Yeah, good.
Πάτερ ημών ο εν της ουρανής, αιστείτε το όνομά σου, αθέτη η βασιλεία σου, Initiative de más was er nog heb this yes. Dan had er moet een plusje en dat is met Simon en Kast met of met hem ons kan missen film so let's mon. Miss next man to spare mon. Allee is mas te doen.
Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Amen. All right. Let me just say one. I usually don't say one, but let me just say I'm prompted one. I feel inspired, if you don't mind. God, these are trying times for all of us. We've been through a lot. Please give us the ongoing strength we need to face things in the proper spirit, whatever it is that we are affronted with. Please give us the wisdom and the patience and the love in the hearts that we need to overcome whatever it is that we're being subjected to. God, please, if it is in your will, give us some healing for people like my family members who seem to be afflicted in a spiritual way and physical. For our brother here, Christian Apologist, for his family members and the struggles that they're having, especially with the affront from Muslims. For, as we said earlier, Francis Bull, for the news that he's getting today. Help him deal with that in a way that is best for him and most pleasing to you. And for our viewers, and for those others who have asked us to pray for them, and for those who afflict us unknowingly, please have mercy on them. Please bring them closer to you. And please, God have mercy, and bring a quick, if it is in your will, end to the vileness that we're all afflicted with these days. Amen. All right.
Amen. Yeah, it was beautiful, man.
Okay. Any closing thoughts?
I think I've let some steam out. I think I'm gonna sleep well tonight.
That was the closing thoughts. Sorry, man. God bless you. Thank you for all you do, and I'll see you next Saturday, if not sooner.
Brilliant. I'll see. Oh, don't forget to email those names.
Oh yeah, thank you for the reminder. You know me well. I do forget. Yeah. And next Saturday, guys, it should be our usual time, give or take, this time around. So be there, or Shaitan will urinate in your ear. Take care. God bless.
God bless.